Good morning, Pear, Florida, or whoever might be possibly listening to this. Excuse me. So, welcome back to day 35 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. Yesterday, we read about listening first and then responding, which actually shows people that we really care about them. And your homework was to journal about a time that you could have been an ear or a shoulder to cry on, but you chose to advise instead. And sometimes that can leave you or whoever you're talking to feeling very frustrated and um like what they set out to do, the purpose for having this conversation was null and void because nothing was solved. They don't feel any better. Matter of fact, they might even feel worse because you advised them instead of listen to them. And really, oftentimes, all we need to do is talk. If we can just get things off of our chest out loud where we can hear it being said, our brain can pick up on the cues and go, wait a minute, we understand why that doesn't sit right with you because it's not in your character to say or do this. It's not in your character to act in that manner. This is not part of your value system. So therefore we have that little nagging feeling of like, I didn't do something right because it's not in our character to do certain things. If you know, if we're talking, if we need to talk to someone, there's just something on my chest and it's bothering me and I can't not talk about it. One of the first things I do is I journal it. For the simple fact that I have learned that people don't listen as well as they talk. And I'm a very private person. I don't like to share my innermost thoughts with people because I don't, well, I have a fear of being judged, I suppose. And this is also why I work really hard at not being a judgmental person. I had to overcome many blocks to, to have that perception for myself, to look at everything from an outside perspective instead of what it would have made me feel on the inside and just talk because it's not okay. But for you as a learner, and we may get to this, but if there's something that's really bothering you, get a journal and just write in it. Every time something comes up or every day, write in your journal. Don't keep it on your phone. It's not the same thing. You literally, your brain needs you to scribe it. And when I say to scribe it, it means to write it down in detail. Once you've written it down in detail, then it's out. And you don't even have to talk to anybody about it. You can go back and reread it and you can justify if feeling the way you feel is correct. You can add to it, you can take away from it, you can realize if what you're reading, if the way you perceived it is a lie, or if it's total truth. When we write things down and then we take the time to go back and reread through what we've written, man, our brains do miraculous things because it picks up on cues. And so if you are someone who needs to talk to somebody, who needs advice, if you are seeing a therapist, I'm not telling you to quit talking to people. I'm not telling you to quit seeing your therapist or whoever. But if it's, if you and Jenny got into a fight and you just need to get it out in the open, instead of going to somebody and talking smack, because that's what it looks like you're doing, put it down on paper first. See if you can figure out who the aggressor is. Who are you wrong? Are there elements of your argument or your feelings that are wrong? Okay? Try to get to the bottom of it before you go get advised by someone, if at all possible. And if not, I mean, if it's something like you're being sexually abused or your boyfriend or girlfriend is hitting you or, your best friend is starving herself and you don't know what to do, don't journal that. Go talk to somebody 100%. If it puts somebody in a life altering situation, you better be talking to somebody. Okay. But if it's just, like I said, Jenny and I got into an argument, who cares if she bought the pink shirt that you wanted and wouldn't share it with you? Is that worth your friendship? Like in 5 years, is that going to matter? Okay. So just think about it. Write it down, think it through, and then realize who's in the wrong. And if you're not, okay, that's fine. But if you are, then do what you need to do. Okay. Okay. So today we're going to talk about 5 poor listening styles. All right. So to understand someone, you must listen to them. Surprise. The problem is that most of us don't know how to listen. Imagine this. You're trying to decide what classes to take next year. You open up your class schedule and look at what's available. Let's see. Geometry, creative writing, beginning speech, English lit, listening. Wait a minute. Listening? A class on listening? Is this a joke? This would be a weird surprise, wouldn't it? But it really shouldn't be, because listening is one of the 4 primary forms of communication, along with reading, writing, and speaking. And if you think about it, since birth, you've been taking classes on how to read, write, and speak better. But when have you ever taken a class on how to listen better? When people talk, we seldom listen because we're usually too busy preparing our response, judging, or filtering their words through our own paradigms. It's so typical of us to use one of these 5 poor listening styles: spacing out, pretend listening, selective listening, word listening, and self-centered listening. So today we're going to read about spacing out. Earth to Bob, are you listening? No, because he's off in La La Land somewhere. Oh, we're going to read about all of them. Okay, so spacing out is when someone is talking to us, but we ignore them because our mind is wandering off in another galaxy. They may have something very important to say, but we're caught up in our own thoughts. We all zone out from time to time, but do it too much and you'll get a reputation for being out of it. Pretend listening is more common. We still aren't paying much attention to the other person, but at least we pretend we are by making insightful comments at key junctures, such as, yeah, cool, or throwing in an LOL here and there when you're chatting online. The speaker will usually get the hint and will feel that he or she is not important enough to be heard. So, my girlfriend dumped me. Sounds cool. No, that's not the response I wanted, bro. Selective listening is where we pay attention only to the part of the conversation that interests us. For example, your friend may be trying to tell you how it feels to be in the shadow of his talented brother in the army. All you hear is the word army and say, oh yeah, the army. I've been thinking a lot about it lately. Since you'll always talk about what you want to talk about instead of what the other person wants to talk about, chances are you'll never develop a lasting friendship. Word listening occurs when we actually pay attention to what someone is saying, but we listen only to the words, not to the body language, the feelings, or the true meaning behind the words. As a result, we miss out on what's really being said. Your friend Kim might say to you, what do you think of Ronaldo? You might reply, I think he's pretty cool. But if you had been more sensitive and listened to her body language and tone of voice, You would have heard that she was really saying, "Do you think Ronaldo likes me?" If you focus on words only, you'll seldom be in touch with the deeper emotions of people's hearts. And self centered listening happens when we see everything from our own point of view instead of standing in another's shoes. We want them to stand in ours. This is where sentences like, "Oh, I know exactly how you feel," come from. We don't know exactly how they feel. We know exactly how we feel, and we assume they feel the same way we do. Like the salesman who thinks you should buy the newest phone so he can make a buck. Self centered listening is often a game of one upmanship where we try to one up each other as if conversations were a competition. You think your day was bad? That's nothing. You should hear what happened to me. When we listen from our point of view, we usually reply in one of three ways, all of which make the other person immediately close up. We judge, we advise, we probe. Let's take a look at each. Judging. Sometimes, as we listen to others, we make judgments in the back of our minds about them and what they're saying. If you're busy judging, you're not really listening, are you? People don't want to be judged, they want to be heard. In the conversation below, notice how little listening and how much judging is going on in the mind of the listener. The listener's judgments are enclosed in parentheses. I had literally the best time with Catherine last night. Oh, sweet. Why would you, Catherine, why would you want to go out with her? I had no idea how hilarious and awesome she is. Oh, yeah? Here you go again. You think every girl who gives you the time of day is great. Yeah, man, I'm thinking about asking her to prom. I thought you were going to ask Jessica. Are you crazy? Jessica's way cuter than Catherine. I mean, I was, but now I think I'm really into Catherine. Well, ask her out then. You'll obviously change your mind tomorrow. Carl was so busy judging that he didn't hear a word Peter was saying and missed out on an opportunity to make a deposit into Peter's RBA. Advising. This is when we give advice drawn from our own experience. This is the "when I was your age" speech you often get from your elders. A sister who needs a listening ear says to her brother, "I hate our new school. Ever since we moved, I'm like the biggest outcast. I wish I could find some new friends already." Instead of listening to understand, the brother reflects upon his own life and says, "No, you need to start meeting new people and get involved in sports and clubs like I did." Little sister didn't want any advice from a well intentioned brother, no matter how good it was. She just wanted to be listened to, for heaven's sake. Once she felt understood, only then would she be open to his advice. Big brother blew a big chance for a big deposit. Probing. Probing occurs when you try to dig up emotions before people are ready to share them. Have you ever been probed? Parents do it to teens, like all the time. Your mom, with every good intention, tries to find out what's going on in your life, but since you're not ready to talk, her attempts feel intrusive, and so you shut her out. "Hi, honey, how was school today?" "Fine." "How'd you do on that test?" "Okay." "How are your friends?" "Good." "Do you have any plans tonight?" "Not really." "Have you been seeing any cute girls lately?" "No, mom, come on, just leave me alone." No one likes to be interrogated. If you're asking a lot of questions and not getting very far, you're probably probing. Sometimes people just aren't prepared to open up and don't feel like talking. Learn to be a great listener and offer an open ear when the time's right. Okay, so I want you to think about a time that you did one of these three things where you either were judging someone actively as they were talking to you. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Oh no. Where you were judging someone actively as they were talking to you. Um, I want to unpause it though. Like, how do I unpause it? I pause this somehow. Resume share. Okay. Well, sorry, you guys. Um, I'm still learning. Okay, so I want you to think about a time where you either judged someone advised someone or probed someone, or a time where you were judged, you were advised, or you were probed. I want you to write about it. Tell me all about it in as much detail as you can and as much detail as you're comfortable telling me about it. Okay? Because we do it and we need to be aware that we actively do this and have it done to us. So, your homework is to write about a time that you were judged, advised, or probed, or where you were doing the judging, advising, or probing. Okay? All right. Look forward to sharing those with you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Toodle-doo.